But this one is from the book. It's on page 733. It says, who are the popular kids at your elementary school? When did they get good grades or have good looks? Were they good at sports? A study was performed to examine the factors that determine social status for children in grades 4, 5, and 6. Researchers administered a questionnaire to a random sample of 478 students in these grades. One of the questions they asked, what would you most like to do at school? Make good grades, be good at sports, or be popular? The two-way table summary below summarizes the students' responses. So, to complete a 4-step process problem, remember that the first step is state, which I'm sure you know by now. So, in our state section, we have to develop our null and alternative hypothesis. So, our null hypothesis would be along the lines of there is no association between the goal at school and gender of students. Would be to plan. So we have to establish if this is random or not. They tell us that they randomly select a random sample of 478 students. So it's stated. The next check is the large sample size test. So the large sample size indicates that each expected count is greater than 5. In parentheses, I'll say, all of which are. The third step would be to establish how independent. This is where the 10% rule comes into play. So, there are more than 4,780 students across the U.S. in 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. Therefore, the sample is independent. So those are the 3 checks. Let me quickly see this for you. So the independent check, the large sample size, and the random. So each checked out, right? Yes, the answer is yes. So the third step, or another part of the plan, is to draw a representative graph. So let's draw that graph. We will have 2 along these lines. So this will be the percent. And then this would be female. And this will be male. We find the percent of each group to have picked each goal. So whether it be grades, popularity, or sports. So I'm just simply graphing those right now. So this is that, and there. So just by looking at the graphs, we can tell that there's a clear difference in the goal of females for popularity and the goal of males for sports. So we can say that the girls were more likely to pick popular and the boys were more likely to pick sports. Then we can move on to our next step.
Do the work. We have to find the test statistic. The simplest way is to plug it into your calculator.
But you could do it by hand. This time, I'm going to plug it into the calculator. So all you have to know is the degree of freedom, which is equal to the rows minus 1 times the columns minus 1, which in this case would be equal to the rows, which is 2, minus 1, which is 1, times 3 minus 1, which is 2. So 2. we come up with a test statistic, or chi-squared, equals to 21.455. So, if the test statistic is equal to 21.455 and the degree of freedom is 2, we can find that the p-value is equal to 0.00002. So, our next and final step will be to conclude. To conclude, we will say that because our p-value is less than our significance level, we will say that we reject the null hypothesis and it is safe to assume that there is an association between gender and goals in the 4th, 5th, and 6th grades. This also helps us because we just did the conclude. We could clearly see this in our graph up here. But this is how we prove it.